Today, I will be talking about how to cope with an avoidant partner. One of the most emotionally confusing experiences in relationships is loving someone who seems emotionally distant, emotionally unavailable, or emotionally avoidant. You may feel like you're constantly trying to get closer, trying to communicate, trying to connect emotionally, while the other person, A, shuts down, withdraws, avoids difficult conversations, or pulls away when emotions become deeper. And eventually, many people begin asking themselves, why does this relationship feel emotionally one-sided? Today, we're going to talk about how to cope with an avoidant partner, why avoidant behavior happens, and how to protect your emotional well-being while navigating the relationship. What does avoidant mean? An avoidant partner is not simply someone who likes alone time. Avoidant behavior usually involves emotional distancing when intimacy increases, vulnerability appears, conflict happens, or emotional pressure feels overwhelming. Avoidant individuals may struggle expressing emotions, avoid emotional conversations, become distant during conflict, type, need excessive emotional space, or emotionally withdraw when overwhelmed. This often leaves the other partner feeling emotionally rejected, emotionally confused, anxious, or emotionally disconnected. One important thing to understand is this: avoidant behavior is often connected to emotional self-protection, not necessarily lack of care. Many avoidant individuals learned early in life that emotional closeness felt unsafe, overwhelming, emotionally demanding, or emotionally risky, why avoidant dynamics become painful. Relationships involving avoidance often fall into a pursue-withdraw cycle. One partner seeks connection through talking, reassurance, closeness, emotional discussion, or conflict resolution. The avoidant partner feels emotionally overwhelmed and pulls away. As one partner pursues harder emotionally, the avoidant partner often withdraws further. Over time, one partner feels emotionally abandoned, while the avoidant partner feels emotionally pressured. Eventually, both people become emotionally exhausted. The anxious or pursuing partner may begin overthinking, seeking reassurance constantly, monitoring emotional distance, or feeling emotionally unsafe. Meanwhile, the avoidant partner may feel emotionally flooded, criticized, controlled, or unable to emotionally regulate during conflict. Here is a case study on Sarah and Daniel. Sarah and Daniel had been together for 3 years. Sarah valued emotional closeness and open communication. Whenever problems arose, she wanted to talk immediately, process emotions together, and resolve tension quickly. Daniel, however, often shut down emotionally during difficult conversations. When conflict appeared, he became quiet, avoided texting, withdrew emotionally, and sometimes needed days before discussing issues. Sarah interpreted this as emotional rejection. She frequently thought, if he cared, he would talk to me. As Sarah pursued more reassurance, Daniel withdrew further emotionally. Eventually, Sarah became emotionally anxious and exhausted. Daniel became emotionally overwhelmed and avoidant. During counseling, Daniel realized that growing up, emotional conflict in his family often led to criticism and emotional chaos. Withdrawal became his nervous system's way of protecting himself emotionally. Sarah also realized that her fear of emotional disconnection intensified her pursuit behavior. As both individuals gained awareness, they slowly learned healthier emotional patterns. Sarah learned emotional regulation and reduced emotional chasing. Daniel learned emotional communication and emotional presence. The relationship improved once both partners stopped viewing each other as the enemy and started understanding the emotional patterns underneath the behavior. Important things to understand about avoidant partners. 1. Avoidance is often about emotional protection. Avoidant individuals often fear emotional overwhelm, vulnerability, emotional dependence, criticism, or losing emotional control. Withdrawal may feel emotionally safer to them than confrontation. 2. You cannot force emotional openness. Trying to pressure, chase, or emotionally force connection often increases withdrawal. The avoidant nervous system may interpret pressure as emotional danger. 3. Avoidance still affects the relationship. Understanding avoidant behavior does not mean ignoring emotional harm. Chronic emotional withdrawal can deeply affect emotional safety, trust, intimacy, and connection. Awareness matters, but accountability matters too. How to cope with an avoidant partner. 1. Stop personalizing every withdrawal. Not every emotional withdrawal means rejection, lack of love, or lack of care. Sometimes avoidance reflects emotional overwhelm and emotional coping limitations. This does not make the behavior healthy, but understanding it reduces unnecessary emotional spiraling. 2. Regulate your own emotional reactions. Many people become emotionally reactive when they feel emotionally abandoned. 3. Slowing down emotionally, breathing before reacting, reducing emotional escalation, and avoiding panic-driven communication. Your nervous system matters too. 3. Communicate calmly instead of pursuing aggressively. Avoidant individuals often respond better to calm, emotionally safe communication than emotional intensity. For example, I want us to reconnect when you feel ready, instead of, why are you ignoring me? Calm communication creates less emotional flooding. 4. Set healthy emotional boundaries. Coping with an avoidant partner does not mean abandoning your emotional needs. Ask yourself, am I constantly emotionally overextending myself? Am I neglecting my own emotional wellness? Am I becoming emotionally consumed, trying to fix the relationship? Healthy relationships require mutual effort. 5. Focus on patterns, not occasional moments. Everyone needs emotional space sometimes. The concern becomes greater when emotional withdrawal is constant. Communication never improves. Emotional needs are consistently ignored, or emotional intimacy becomes chronically unavailable. Patterns matter more than isolated incidents. 6. Encourage emotional growth, not shame. Avoidant individuals often already carry discomfort around vulnerability. Growth usually happens more effectively through emotional safety, awareness, patience, and accountability, rather than criticism or emotional attack. Loving an avoidant partner can feel emotionally exhausting when connection repeatedly feels interrupted by emotional distance. But understanding avoidance helps couples recognize that underneath withdrawal is often fear, emotional overwhelm, vulnerability struggles, or emotional self-protection. At the same time, healthy relationships still require emotional effort and communication, accountability, and willingness to grow. You cannot heal a relationship by abandoning yourself emotionally, and you cannot force someone into emotional openness before they are willing to address their own emotional patterns. Healthy love requires both people learning how to create emotional safety, not just emotional survival. Healthy love is not just calm, it's connected. And emotional awareness changes relationships. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more conversations on relationships, mental health, and emotional wellness.